Okay, so let's get started. I'm not gonna go over the same once again. We know we are in the bigger range. This range where we have our local model 1, bullish breakup structure. Since then the target has been the range high, and early this week we had that early week sell-off, which created our Monday's low, and then we pushed higher where we created our Tuesday high, and since then we have been basically stuck within the weekly high and the weekly low, where we are stuck between the idea that this is a bullish retest, so that we have our main structure, which was from here, high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, to move into that range high target. That is the bullish market structure idea. And the other idea was that this is potentially our third drive. So where we have tap 1, tap 1, tap 2, tap 3, like a model 1 distribution, or you can see it as a deviation, where this is our range. We deviate above the range to manipulate buyers. Now we accept back in the range, in which this is a PO3, in which we can expect a rotation all the way back to our range low. The whole week we have been looking at those two scenarios, and the whole week we have seen pretty slow price action. So where we have been in this local downtrend, where we created that high on Tuesday, where I said if we get a bearish week then this has to be the high, and that one also held. So we have seen this. Then yesterday we had that London low right here, where we got the pullback into that supply and local market structure level. This is where I and quite a lot of other people from the community took that short to target the London low, which was this low, and right below that London low we only had liquidity, which we have been talking about here. So we said if we lose that London low, it is very likely that we see acceleration down into that resting demand. So that is also what we got, because if we look at it right here, we had this right here, this move higher, where we had London lows. Let me actually show you it here. So we had a strong Asia high, an Asia low, then lower high, and then we sold off, where we had a London low. We came back pretty high up into the breakdown level, but technically this was our all supply. So this was the supply level. Price came up high into it, but technically it was just a lower high, because here we have lower high, lower low. So this came up high, but eventually was a lower high for a lower low. So here internally I took that London short to target this low, but because we knew that below that low there was nothing but sell side liquidity, it accelerated further into this demand, where it tapped into. And right now we have a very interesting situation where price tapped into this lower demand. So we have this full range demand, which is basically from here. That's like the main range demand. Then this is a bit more refined, where we tapped into, and we have even more refined down here. But as I said, if bulls are truly bullish, then they want to hold this level and don't stay too long below it, because if you stay too long below it, the deviation idea becomes much more strong, and then this can just be a bearish retest for lower. So what we saw this morning was that we had the demand mitigation right here, and from there I have a local uptrend, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, and there we came exactly into our hourly bearish structure. So let's clean it up to make it visible. If you look at our internal hourly bearish structure with low, lower high, low, low, lower high, low, low, lower high, and then the sell-off right here. So this morning we came into that breakdown level from yesterday, wigged our market structure high, and came down. And also, this is hourly structure. Is it the sell candle? No, it's a tiny buy candle. So on the 1 hour it's not valid, but I believe on the 30-minute we broke structure. Yeah. So right now we are again between two key levels, where in my opinion bears saw this move higher and they knew they don't want to break hourly structure back to bullish and don't want to reclaim that level where we broke down from yesterday. So price came into it, seller stepped in and slammed price back down below the original range. So this is a sign that bears are trying to protect that deviation, because they know you cannot get back above this level, otherwise it is very likely that this was a manipulative move, that the bulls won, and that you get a move back to your highs. So in my opinion it is super interesting here, because bears have this level basically as their invalidation, they will protect it, and bulls have a potential strong low early Asia, and it's also a pretty key point, because I think if we retest that this high is super strong, and then we get it gets very vulnerable for the longs, because the longer we stay here, like either they tap then into this demand and then break structure and get one more chance to push price higher, but I think the longer we stay below this key level, the stronger the case for the bears is, which will be that we hold too long below the range high. If we do not accumulate here and lose this demand, then what is it, low 60k, this is our range low, that level then becomes very likely, which is 61.3k. So I'm not yet in a trade, I scaled out of that short yesterday on the way down, but now I am not really interested in longs because I don't like this structure too much. If we swept the low, then I'm more interested in longs. So for today, I think I'm gonna be, just as yesterday, gonna be looking for a short, because this is now also a range demand, because we have high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, bearish break. So basically this whole zone is local range supply. The invalidation here for shorts is also super clean, because in my opinion there is no reason for bears to get above this level. So that can be your invalidation. So if during New York we see like a spike into this followed by weakness, then I think a new short like this is a pretty high probability one. In case we truly get that bearish momentum, then it can turn into a nice winner. And I would be happy to take that loss, because if we do indeed flip it, then I'm simply gonna look for a way for a pullback and then try to look for new longs into new highs. And that's also because we do not have good, let me put an alert, we do not have a solid structure here on the lows. As you know, if you are bullish, then you want to take your lows. If you are bearish, then you create higher lows. In this case, we have a naked low, higher low, higher low, higher low. To me, that does not show strength. It shows the opposite, that this is likely to be taken sooner or later. So I'm not interested in a long, because for a long, I don't see a clean invalidation. And for me, it doesn't even matter if I'm bullish or bearish. What matters to me is where can I put an invalidation that I can trust. Right now, this to me is a pretty good invalidation. But if I want to long, like what will be my invalidation? I'm certainly not gonna use any of these lows as my invalidation, because in my opinion, they are likely to be swept. So then I should use like maybe the lowest demand, so that protects me, and then look for a long. But that's also not really how I would like to trade. So for the plan for New York is that I'm gonna look, if we push into this level and we see weakness, to look for shorts, or I want to see price make new daily lows and then see if we later in the session like sweep this low, and if we then show absorption, or at least do not break it down from this demand, then the bulls can still have a case to push it higher. Because we cannot ignore that we are also creating quite a lot of liquidity here, since we are compressing to the downside. So very simply put, this is my short PY for a New York session, and I'm only interested in longs if we either flip this zone, so supply failure, flip it into demand, then I'm gonna look for longs, because then I think we will go to the range high, into new highs, and this is where I want to look for shorts, and I'm only interested in longs if we flip the supply, or if we take out that low from yesterday, and then take it, break local structure, and then see if we can take a long, in which this could be, for example, just another 1, 2, 3 setup, model 2, and then look for longs. But depends a lot on what we will do during New York, because if we are zoomed in like right now, then you think, okay, we have a lot of liquidity building up, so this can be explosive, which is definitely true, but always important to zoom out. So if we zoom out and see this as a range, so let me quickly put on the range. This is then our range to tab 1, we can extend it to tab 2, so then these are basically our tabs, so 1, 2, and this is our tab 3 / deviation. Then right now we can clearly see that we deviated the highs, came back in the range, and even broke structure here to bearish. We are also holding below the value area high right here, and that is a sign that if you hold below your value area high, that you have acceptance back in your value. So if we look at all the price action from here till here, then basically this is our value. So this is fair value, and anything below it is discount, anything above it is premium. So right now, because we are holding below our value area high, it looks like this was overpriced and price is now finding new value. Oftentimes when you accept back in value area high, that means you're gonna search for a new fair value, which often is to look for your value area low. Hold value area low and you get back to your value area high. Accept below value area low and you look for new lows till buyers step in and you get back to your fair value. So seeing this and that we are holding for now, looks like we are holding below the value area high, and we even retested the range high right here. I think the case for shorts is much stronger here than for bulls at this point. Once again, because this invalidation to me is super clean. Only thing is that, once again, just as yesterday, our current high is a London high. But I already explained why I think in this situation it's a bit different, because at this, like yesterday, it was not really a key low, and this is to me a key high, because we swept market structure high, tapped into that breakdown level, tapped into that supply. So either this is our high, or it fails and we break much higher. So it's literally an inflection point, and therefore I think that we are likely to hold this high for today. And then we can also look at the stats for a moment, because I think our current low is super now likely to be taken, that if we take that out, then our stats will also change. So let's first look at order flow for a moment. Yeah, so yesterday I mentioned here that we had that compression right here. And then we had the breakdown, and now we retested the levels, the breakdown levels, and again are breaking down. So in my opinion, also here, bears have the strong hand because bulls are losing ground. Also, if we look at the TPO, then we had the range point of control from yesterday right here. So early this morning we took it out and sold off hard. That's often not a good sign if you test a daily point of control and you directly sell off from it. That is a bearish sign if it is above you, and if one is remaining below you, like yesterday we cleared this resting daily demand, there we took it and then bounced from it. This was bullish reaction. This is the exact opposite, bearish reaction. So again, this high, it might be a crazy confluence for the bears to hold if they want to push price down. Let's go to the stats. Yeah, okay, so you could see that we had an early low, Asia low, and then a London high. So right now I have not chosen a bias, but it seems like we are not really biased. We are literally at the median. So this can be bullish or bearish. So we can then look, okay, let's say we are bullish. Then we see that we are at the lower band. So if it wants to remain bullish, it should start moving soon. We should not lose like the local low or the daily low, because then it starts to look not like a bullish day anymore, then a bearish day is much more likely. So if we then choose bearish day, then we can see that we made a big move higher, an unusual move for bearish day, that high, but right now we are starting to follow the bearish projection. So if this starts to make new lows, then it could flip into bearish day, and then you can see that we have quite a lot of downside to still move. Also here, 71% of the days had the high in by now. So once again, bears have this super clean invalidation with like, I don't know how many confluences we have right now for that high, but they know we have to defend this high and then push price down. And then we can also see, like, if we have a bearish day, 23% of bearish days had the low in by now, very low. 100% of the days put the low in later, and 98% of the lows further. So there is quite a lot of downside for the bearish idea. So all in all, what is gonna happen in like New York is the next hour, around here is super key. But in my opinion, like, I don't care if it goes up or down, but from a short I only see the clean setup for the short at this point, until we take out that low and then flip bullish. Then I will still look at potential longs, but for now I think the bears have the cleaner invalidation, the cleaner setup, so I'm gonna look for shorts in this level and for longs down here. Let's see if we have right here, we have some supply, and this is the more refined supply. So let's put an alert there. Yeah, so basically this whole zone is supply, and then like here, this is your more refined supply. If you break above this refined supply, then there's not really anything to hold you back, so then it's probably also gonna squeeze. So what I would like to see is a tap into that level, then a break, and then see if I can get into a short position. If we first start taking the lows, then I'm not in a short, also fine, because I'm not gonna short it here and put my stop there. And then it's way too low RR for me, not for my style. So then I'm just gonna patiently wait and then see if something develops right here. Do we react bullishly after taking this low and into this demand? Or do we get like a strong sell-off, no reaction? Then I'm gonna be looking for lower highs, and then I think we also break down. So that are basically the plans. The only thing I'm sitting a bit with is that Fridays can be pretty volatile, especially like later in the sessions. But the weekend on Bitcoin is always super boring. So maybe we get some volatility today, but oftentimes during the weekend we see Bitcoin just choosing, like seeing a range. So right now we know that we are at a key level right here. Like basically lose this demand and there's nothing to hold price up, because then you only have liquidity down here. So this is the level bulls really want to defend, and this is the level bears really want to defend. So what they can also do is to trap people and just chop in between these levels during the weekend, and then get like our usual Monday, like Sunday night, Monday open manipulation, where we sell off and then push higher, and then have the early week low, or do the opposite, where we push higher and then sell off, and then have the early week high. That's also a scenario I can see definitely play out. But yeah, for now I'm just gonna focus on the New York session. Alerts are set in this supply and at these lows. So let's see what we get. Looking at USDT, yeah, I shared this one yesterday. This is such an incredible chart. We have the range high, range low, sweep of the high, kind of a Model 2 like distribution. And then we trended down. From here we have basically been in this downtrend, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. All this price action can be it can even go to there, lower high for lower low, because we have not taken out our range low. The only thing holding me back from thinking that this is pretty bullish is that we did not take out our low. If this wicked out that low, then my bias will be even more bullish for this chart and more bearish for crypto. But I want to show. Okay, so what we have here is a 1, 2, 3. So not really a Model 1 accumulation, but more a bullish tree drive. So more vertical. But we have a tree drive just front running our range low, and then internally we have a hourly bullish break right here. So we have a potential bullish tree drive, 1, 2, 3. We have here internal structure, which is now broken to bullish. And then locally we have this downtrend, low, lower high, lower low, where if we continue this local downtrend, this should be our high, or here this is the level where we should form our lower high and then go to the lower low, and that will complete that range low swipe. However, because we have already a 1, 2, 3 bullish break, we created a range demand right here. So we had basically range, bullish break, creating this clean demand zone. What can we see this is super clean demand, but what is directly below this demand? Only liquidity. So here again, if you lose this demand, then you slice probably straight through to the range low, because there's nothing holding price up from this liquidity. But what did price do? It exactly bounced from this level. So also here, this is now your super clean invalidation. And if price is truly bearish, one moment. Okay, yeah. So this is the super clean invalidation for the reversal. And because price had this swing high to this swing low, flip, boom. You can see that we tapped into this supply zone, which is our fib level as well. So that is the level where you want to see a lower high be formed if we are to continue this downtrend. We formed a local model 1 with an extension into the 4th tap right here. So above this level there's nothing. And right now we see that price is showing a lot of strength. So if it flips above this level, then this could squeeze quite a bit higher. Probably if we flip this, then I think we will move into this supply. And above there, you have a lot of liquidity as well. So also here, very clean invalidation levels, because bulls now want to defend this level, because otherwise you swipe directly into your range low. But if you break here, then this is your next level, and if you do not react from there, you probably get a move into this supply. So, and if I look at this, like this looks super explosive with that liquidity build up right there, and even into here. The only thing is that it did not take out that low. If it would have taken out that low and then this, then I would really expect a move into these levels. But now that it does 30 with front running that low, but still very important what we're gonna do here in the next few hours. That probably means that BTC, Bitcoin very close to taking out the daily low. So it's gonna be important what we do there. If we look at, just setting an alert right here, because we have this little bearish FVG as well. So sometimes they like to front run your supply but tap into that bearish fair value gap. So alert there. Let me quickly look at the chat. Yes, I'm recording the screen. Sorry. Sergio made a post recently to say 4 most similar weeks in terms of price action, all of them just range for the remainder of the week. This is from the fractal thing on price there. I was thinking the fact that combined it sweep as well. Yeah, I also saw that from Sergio, and that would be aligned with that idea that we are stuck between this key demand for the bears, for the bulls, and this key level here for bears, and that we are approaching the weekend. So maybe we get some volatility today, but then I would not be surprised to see price just range in this local level where people are gonna build positions. So the bulls are gonna buy and put their stops below here, and the bears are gonna build short positions with their stops around here. And then you have liquidity on the downside, liquidity on the upside, and that is what eventually market makers always want, liquidity. So that could definitely be a case as well. Let's go to quickly looking what is. Yeah, so also for the day, like to me this is clearly bearish. So I would focus more on shorts personally than on longs, simply because we broke structure back to bearish. We created multiple supply levels. We have super clean invalidation, and we are below the VWAP. So until we start taking out our lows, I'm more interested in shorts into that low. And then I think this low is very significant, so I don't expect us to slice right through it. So mostly scalps, but I would not be surprised to see us just range as well. Let's have a look at our alts. Yeah, so Sol front ran that range high and instead created equal highs, created this supply, and is now, yeah, in my opinion, super clean, because we have super clean range low, clean range high, super clean SFP, and then we moved into the range, came back down, so just super clean range behavior. And then this is the local supply breakdown. So that's a clean level to look for shorts, but we are already moving down. So right now I'm mostly interested to see if this can flow over into a Model 2 or a Model 1 accumulation, where for the Model 2 we have these POIs. This is our extreme liquidity, our first higher low. So if we sweep that and flip structure, then it can be our third tap, in which we have 1, 2, 3. Or what is cleaner is that we take extreme liquidity and tap into extreme demand, which is this demand, which is, what is it? Yeah, super clean 30-minute demand. So that are the two POIs for a Model 2. But the way you move into it is always very telling. So preferably you get like a move where we create liquidity while moving into it, like this, and then you can get an easy rotation back up. Right now we are coming down into it pretty quickly. Then you have to be careful with, like this would be for me still too vertical. Then I still think we later came back once again and then go up. That's just from experience. If you look at clean models, they always have return to zones like this and not vertical price action like this. So for the Model 2 I think it needs time. So either we front run it and range here for a bit and then come down, or a Model 1 is also possible, where we technically can extend our range already to this step 2, and then price can also take this, come back up, and then go for a new sweep, then a break, and then kind of, it's a bit extended because the taps are quite far out of each other, but then it could turn into a Model 1. So it depends a lot on what happens, but overall this is a clean range to work with. Hype still weak, and it's still just trending lower. It's also why I said early in the week that we had that local reversal setup here, but if we zoomed out, then it was only local and the downtrend was stronger. So right now we also have just like low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Until we see strength, this can just be a new lower high for a lower low. But slowly but surely it's getting more and more interesting, because we are approaching our range low, which is this level. And then we are back in extreme discount, and that's always a level to look for potential reactions, or at least not start to become bearish right here, because that's always the case. People become super bullish at the highs and super bearish at the lows. We should just see it as just a range. We are at the range lows, so you should be careful with shorts. Maybe if you get like a super clean short like this, you can trade it, but overall, if you are below your mid-range, so if you look at this from a range perspective, then this is premium, where you want to focus more on shorts than longs, and in discount you want to focus on longs over shorts. So right now you are clearly in discount. The lower 25% of your range, which is around here, is your extreme discount, and it's the level where longs make the most sense, and you technically do not want to short at all in this level, only want to look for the longs. So right now you are in that level, so then you just can look for setups, but obviously always the deeper you go into your range, the better it is. And best case always is to have a tap 2 and then look for a potential tap 3. 1, 2, 3. So this is going to get very, very interesting, because we know that if hype, it loves to produce Wyckoff models, but if it produces a accumulation, each time it absolutely sent. We missed that one earlier. Where was that? Yeah, like this one, where price also formed a big range, and then we just missed that third tap with we had our eyes on it, but we just missed it. But also here it was like a range low, tap 2, tap 3, and from there look what happened. This major move into the new range, and until we break high time frame structure confidently back to bearish, each range can be seen as a bullish range. So this can just be a bigger replica of potentially here. But for now we are sweeping the highs instead of sweeping the lows. So that's the difference between this range and this range. This was clearly accumulative because we had a open range high and we swept our lows. And right now we have an open range low and we swept our highs. So that's why I would love to see that low be taken and then a bullish reaction, and then look for accumulations. Quickly looking, because I think we took our daily low. Oh, very close. Okay, so Sol is clear, hype is clear. Basically both waiting for lower levels. Tao is finally breaking down. So I already explained multiple times why I did not like this range too much. The only reason was that this liquidity drill was super attractive, but we are losing the range low right now, so I'm gonna delete this range. I not see it as a range anymore. And I think like the main point was that the location of the range was weird. So right now I'm gonna be looking. I also don't like this range because it's way too big and way too much volume is in the lower part. But because we have this liquidity trail, I still like it. So I'm not gonna draw it like a range, but I'm gonna draw it just as a horizontal level here, where if we take that level into demand below and then flip structure back to bullish, then it can just be a 1, 2, 3. Technically the same, but then it's not a Wyckoff model, so then this is not the technical target, because this is not a good range. But yeah, also here, super weak, and that could oftentimes when alts are already super weak and Bitcoin is still at a super high level, then it can also be an indication that Bitcoin is just holding and waiting to break down. Because if the market is bullish, then alts are also bullish. If only Bitcoin is holding and alts are already selling off, then it can be that big players are just holding Bitcoin up to fill their own short positions, for example. And then when they're ready, they let it fall and then everything nukes. If we now look at all the alts, they already are super weak. So yeah, Bitcoin, I think it looks heavy. But yeah, already explained that. Tao, one look at the high time frame, because that range didn't make a lot of sense from a location point of view, but slowly but surely we are reaching our high probability level where I want to get involved, or at least where I want to pay close attention, and that is this whole zone. Here we have range demand, so this zone is highest probability level, but basically from here, I think anything buying here, spot as well, will be very rewarding eventually. Here we have some liquidity build up, so I think sooner or later we will take that into this range demand, but I think this is a super clean high time frame level. So the lower this goes, the more interested I am, because this is a chart that I've seen too many times in crypto, and almost always this goes back to the highs. So I think this is a gift. The lower this goes, the better. And yeah, Bitcoin took out the daily low. So indeed here, I already was looking for potential shorts when we broke structure. But the moment we broke structure, we already were down too much. So then I'm not interested to open a short here, invalidation there, and then target lower. So then I have to just be patient and hope for a move back into supply, and then look for a short. We did not get it. We are now going for that low right here. But yeah, I think buyers and everything has been pretty on point this week. Yeah, and going over ETH, I already explained in the stream how we had our daily structure. So daily SFP, so with this main structure, higher high, higher low, SFP. And there I already said if we have an internal break of structure back to bearish, then you have a daily SFP, then technically your market structure low is a weak targeted level. However, back there we did not have a clean break of structure because there was no structure in this leg, but price then came back down, created structure and gave another sweep. So at this point, this is our clean high, higher low, into a higher high. So that is the market structure low. Right there. And that one is now broken back to bearish, which means that we have a daily swing failure pattern plus a bearish break of structure. Therefore, this is our weak target level. Very likely that price moves into this level. Combined with that, we also have Tab 1, Tab 2, Tab 3, bearish break. So to me, the picture is super clear that we are very likely to move into the range low. However, I had a clean supply level right here, which is basically this last buy to sell aggressive dump and confluence of the local range right here, value area low and point of control. So I had alerts in that zone, but typical fucking ETH, it took out this high and front ran the obvious level. It is now selling off. And that's why I hate ETH. It always front runs the obvious levels or it does not give a sweep, or it just front thread it like this. It's always the same. So yeah, also very interested in short from this level, but seems like we do not get it. So I'm gonna look what we get, but overall, like also here, this is only liquidity. So I'm super interested, or at least I'm sure, like 80-90% sure we go here. So if I see a good way to get involved into a short, I will take advantage of that and just try to trade with this new local downtrend, which now is like low, lower high, lower low, potential lower high, lower low. Yeah, and then we had every coin. Market is breaking down, so let me quickly, for fun, look at the MMT. So let me know if there are any questions. I think the bias this week was spot on. Yeah, look, this is just this is breaking down.